Well, we're here with Mark Goertzen today of Goertzen Pottery. I've known Mark for quite some time, and I've seen his work evolve over the years. I feel like we're really fortunate to be here. It's a magical place. There's just beautiful artwork all over. It's incredible. Mark is from Constantine, Michigan.
Yep.
And I have been to his open house several times there with the Michigan Pottery Tour. And we're lucky enough to be visiting him here. So he's going to show us some of how this is put together, and we'll ask some questions and get to know his business a little bit. How long have you been at this?
Yes, so I've been at this since '89 in this place. So, yeah, 31 years right here.
Okay, and this was previously...
This was previously Dick Lehman.
Dick Lehman, okay.
And I bought it almost exactly 10 years ago.
I see. Did he retire then from the business?
He retired from this business. He keeps making pots. But
Okay.
I bought the line, I guess, in the studio and everything.
I see.
And then I've changed it. So, yeah.
And we're here in the old bag factory in Goshen, Indiana, which
That's
is
right.
an amazing building.
So there's many different kinds of shops here. But I'm on the west end, so you just look at me down past the furniture store.
Okay, all right.
Um,
So, is there a specific type of clay you're using right now? I'm sure there's
yeah,
different
so
kinds.
I usually work with 3 different kinds of clay. This happens to be a porcelain clay. I also do 2 different types of stoneware clay. They, on the same glazes, will make the colors look different just because of the base material.
I see.
And some clays are better for certain things than others, so that's why I do multiple clays. I moved up here I grew up in Kansas, so I moved up here in '89, just intending to be here a year. And you got to be careful what you say yes to.
Plans do change.
Yes. And so Dick became a friend as well as an employer, and it was fun to work here. The studio was almost exactly how I imagined my own studio being, and after a while I began to wonder why I wanted to go if I'm doing exactly kind of what I was wanting to do. So that's why I stayed in the area. And then in 2000, my wife and I were trying to find the properties around here where I could build a wood kiln. And we kept going farther and farther, and that's how we ended up in Constantine. It's not that bad a drive. It's about a half hour for me to get to work. And now I have a wood kiln and a wood-fired soda kiln up there. It's 2 different types of kilns that do we call them atmospheric kilns. You don't know exactly what you're going to get when they come out of the kiln.
So where does the soda come in? I'm a little bit confused. I have seen your wood kiln.
So soda is kind of exactly between. We'll have a photo of our gas kiln here. The soda kiln we can do glazes on, and when the soda, like say your Mule Team Borax, is kind of like a soda. It volatilizes, creates a fume, and it will go across the pots, and it will change the glaze in weird ways. So these pots are exactly right there. Those steins have been soda fired, and you see some effects on that we wouldn't be getting in our gas kiln.
And they're very shiny too.
They can be, yeah. So what it is you release it to the fire, and you see what kind of gifts you get back. And that's kind of fun for me, not to know exactly how everything is going to turn out.
And is that the way it kind of goes with this? I'm sure you know a lot of the effects you're going to get depending on your glazes and
More
and
so,
firing, but there are a lot of surprises involved.
more so, I pretty much know what the gas kiln, although there's surprises there too, but where I fire 90% of the time, I know pretty much how it's going to turn out.
Okay.
But I do set things up also even in that firing to be a little unpredictable, because what's the fun in knowing how things are always going to turn out?
Exactly. I noticed in some of your pieces, and I really admire them, there's indentations like shells and natural things.
Right. Uh-huh.
So do those go on at after the glaze and before firing, I'm assuming?
Right. So I'll finish this one and then maybe I can show you
Okay.
a few things like that. Right. That would be, you're putting it on sort of a tripod of sorts, a clay tripod with shells, and that's an actual seashell. And when they're fired, that affect that shell and say some of the glass from the clay itself combines in the atmosphere and creates a sort of a copy of the shell. It's not the shell itself.
So there's a bit of science to this.
Oh, yeah.
I would imagine a lot of science. Did you go to school for this, or are you self-trained?
No, I didn't do, well, yes.
Yes or no? That's a good answer.
I went to college in high school I did a lot of music, but I didn't do any art classes. So in college I was trying to get rid of an art requirement, and that's when I got hooked with clay.
Wow.
And so yes, but I would say I learned 90 more. It was a good start, but I learned so much more just by doing here.
Yeah,
And
I would imagine that this is something that you do and you do and you do. And
Mm-hmm. And the more I know, the more I don't know. It's amazing how much you could do if you want to do more and more. So it's been fun. I feel like I'm still learning a lot every year.
well, that's a wonderful way to work, I think.
Yeah.
It is fascinating.
So when these are about halfway dry, the bottoms aren't finished, we'll tip upside down and we'll trim the bottom smooth. There's also, since they're candle houses, I carve a design into the sides of these pots.
Okay, so these would be safe then to burn a real candle in.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of your pieces too are bakeware, and are those safe for?
They're all meant to be used. All the clays and glazes I use, so you can use it and not just put it on a shelf.
Okay, I love that.
Microwave and dishwasher safe as well.
So this is the kiln that you have here in the studio that you use?
Right. So this is called a car kiln. So we have the front wall and the bottom, and we can roll it into the studio and load from 3 sides. It's a lot easier on our back. And up to about here. I fire maybe once a month, maybe twice.
Okay.
Sometimes, and then it rolls out into the rest of the kiln out the gray door there.
Oh, all right, and that's to the outside.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So away from the building. a bit.
Good idea. Oh, all right. Oh, that's beautiful.
So these are, see, this is going to be a black, and I don't know what the top color is, but it might. Okay, so green. So glazes in this state, when you first glaze, the pot is porous, and so a glaze is really chemicals in water. So the water soaks into the pot, but the powder still stays on the surface. And then when you put heat, it melts that. This is glass chemical.
Glaze is glass.
Yeah, and then it will melt and change color in the heat. So this gets up to it gets up to 2,300 degrees when we're firing.
Wow.
So
these pieces that we see here are in the process of being glazed.
That's
to
right.
fire. And you've got 2 assistants, I see.
Yes.
Hello, ladies. Looks like you're doing a wonderful
very,
job.
Very important help.
I bet. Oh my goodness, look at
You
these.
were talking about shells. So,
Okay,
right.
wait. See, now we can't stop them. The introvert comes out. We're good.
Okay, so we place them on these tripods with the seashells on the tripods.
I see.
Like that. And so this one hasn't been put in water yet. And what we, so it's fired like this. So I can get effect of shells and also the flowing of, this happened to be just out of a wood kiln that this was unloaded yesterday. It's the ash buildup, so this top part, lots of ash buildup, and then it starts flowing around the pot, and this is what we call dragonfly eyes. This is accumulation of glass.
Okay, so this happens naturally in the
Right.
kiln.
This was not glazed at all on the outside, so this is all wood ash and heat.
Beautiful.
And maybe some flashing from the shell itself. Well, we were just talking about mugs, and I collect a lot of other potters' mugs myself because each mug is handmade, so it has its own personality, and each potter's fingers and such has its own personality. So what's fun is to drink it from a mug and think about that person. Or if it's just connecting to you for some reason, like I feel like handmade work often connects with people far better than this mass-produced work, and it has a little bit of a human touch that is precious. And so you might pay a little bit more, but you might enjoy your coffee just that much more too.
I can vouch for that. I have several of Mark's pieces in my. You're doing. If we can step over here, I saw these on your website too, and I thought, what a cool idea for our frontline workers during this crisis.
Yes.
Mark has not let them go without a little tribute.
This was actually an idea from my wife. Works in the education department of Goshen College here in town, and she also has a friend, or we both have a friend who does these, who can draw. So he did this, the actual artwork, and we can decal these on and fire them, and then they're permanent onto the pot. But her idea was, since she's dealing with teachers and they're doing double duty, at least at that point the intention was they would work a little bit in the classroom and also online, and it's actually kind of double duty, that some of her cooperating teachers who hosted her student teachers would get these mugs or these cups.
That's awesome.
And then other people saw them and wanted them, and it just blossomed from there. And then they said healthcare workers. So we have a healthcare worker one as well. We were asked to do this, so they're very available.
Okay. All right. So I see now we're on to another part of the process here.
Right. So this pot is halfway dry, but still pliable. You can still cut things away. Once they're all the way dry, they're actually a little bit fragile. So at this point is when we call trimming the foot on, or trimming the pot. So sometimes you have to align, and this is a little tool on the top of a wheel head that helps center the pot. So
Okay, I imagine that would be important to have everything centered.
There's many ways of doing things, but this is a nice tool to have. So then you can trim clay away.
Oh.
So that's what I was talking about on the candle houses, the excess in the foot. And this is what we do. The final stage before letting them dry out all the way,
Right.
and
So
then they're fired.
you just want to get it smoothed out and
sort of continue that line a little bit.
Have you ever ruined anything?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
You're not working if you don't make mistakes.
This is true. I think if I actually was able to throw something and got to this stage and it fell apart, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. When you're beginning, it's a lot precious. it's actually, ironically, it's the more you do, and each pot is a little less precious. Usually, they're a little bit better then also. So sometimes I'll put some rings and things on the bottom just to create more interest when you flip a pot upside down. But we also, each of us, if we make a pot, and I make, I don't know, 90% of what's here, but I have my throwing mark. So this is like adding a signature.
Oh, it's your signature. Just like a signature on a painting.
And then there's a studio stamp like Goertzen Pottery.
Okay.
And then I have a symbol of two fish that will be done at the end of this year, so not much longer. It went from 2016 to 2020. My intention is to register all my marks online so that people know, and then each symbol that I put on there, like for this, will give you a 5-year span of when that pot was made.
Oh, that's interesting.
So in the 100 years from now, from whatever version of Antiques Roadshow, if they they can say
I have a Goertzen.
This was made somewhere in 2016 to 2020.
Well, you take some of the mystery out of it. I know about some of your bakeware because that's really intriguing to me. You said these are all oven and dishwasher safe.
Right. So a baking dish or really deep pie plates. Someone wanted a covered. Speaking of orders that I sometimes make, someone wanted a covered pie dish, so that's what that is.
Nice.
I do make some casseroles, actually bread bakers, which can be casseroles as well. So
Okay.
I give a recipe to no-knead bread baker. It takes about, the quickest would be about 8-12 hours. So you can start it in the morning, and then in the evening you
and you could actually bake the bread
in here, and then it comes out nice little crusty bread with a soft interior.
Right. Yeah. So you could do that, and then you get some covered butter dishes. And
right. I think I'm a little bit well known for bowls, serving bowls that makes food look better.
I have one of your serving bowls, but it sits on my coffee table in my living room. I don't want to put food in it.
I get good feedback on my pictures and things like that, and we do some things like oil candles, for in case the electricity goes off, or you just want to light a candle and don't want.
Okay,
those are oil candles here.
And these, the little hurricanes, are those oil candles
yes,
too?
They
the
are.
hurricane lamp.
Uh-huh.
Well, this would be a great place if you're in the market for some lovely handmade things.
And this is my only candle house out here at the moment.
Okay, and that's what you were showing us.
Yeah, so it has a little bit of just the candle in there. Mm-hmm.
Mark, how can people get in touch with you? We know you're in the Old Bag Factory here in Goshen, so they can stop in the shop. What are your hours?
Well, we're in 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and 9 to 4 on Saturday.
Okay.
And sometimes open until 5, depending. And then we also have an online store at GoertzenPottery.com.
Okay, that's your website.
And it will have all 3 styles of way I make work on that. And so we sell online as well.
Okay.
And then in the fall, the last Saturday and Sunday of September, in normal years, we have a open house at our house in Constantine with 3 or 4 invited artists.
And that's a beautiful event that you have. I've been there several years.
So I do some things local, and that way you can see my wood kiln or my other kilns there. They're at my place.
If you're in Sturgis, Mark also has some things at the Open Door Gallery. That's how I met Mark originally, probably 15, 20 years ago.
That's right. Uh-huh. Yep.
So there are some things there as well. But this has been amazing. I thank you so much for having us into your studio and the time you spent showing us your craft.
Well, thank you for coming.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Stop in and see Mark at Goertzen Pottery. It is truly amazing. Thanks again, Mark.
Thanks, Judy. Mm-hmm.